Hi there, this is Manny with Classic Auto Repair. I'm going to take you through the servicing of the engine, oil filter, the lubrication of the chassis, and the rear end differential, checking the fluid on that. So starting off here with the oil drain plug is a 9/16" wrench. Take it off. It has a nylon washer underneath it. It's important that you put one of those on there about every 2 or 3 oil changes to keep it from leaking. Oil filter, the old oil filter was removed and swapped out. The filter number, so you have it for purchasing more, is let's see what we got here. Is a type PF24. That's an AC Delco GM part number. I use a motor micro guard myself. This is after I dumped the oil out. The oil's in not real good condition. Got a little bit of water in it. That's the white milky stuff. And the dark stuff is the motor oil. That's it looks like the oil hasn't been changed in a while. And with the leaks that it has on it, it's burning oil, probably because of original motor. For sure, original motor. You're going to want to check your oil regularly, about every 2 weeks. If not, every time you put gas in it, make sure that you check your oil on this truck until you get comfortable with it and know how much its usage is. Again, you do have some leaks coming from the oil pan. I'm tightening up the valve covers, which will hopefully eliminate a lot of this blow-by that you have on the sides of the motor. But like I said, now you got a new filter on there, got the plug back on it. I'm going to put oil in it here in a minute, but I wanted to show you the servicing of the rear end. You don't have to do this, but probably every 9 months to a tune-up time, maybe a year and a half. But this is also a 9/16 wrench to loosen this out. Wipe this off or use a wire brush first so you don't get any grease inside of the hole. And then to check it, you put your finger inside and bend down just a little bit. If it's dry, then it needs oil, and it looks to be full here. So we got oil coming out right there, and the condition looks good. It doesn't smell burned. That's usually how I can tell if oil is, or there's a gear problem, is I go in there and I smell it, and that gives me kind of a test there. But you're up to the level, so you just want to replace your bolt back in there, and you'll be all set there. Tighten it back up. Again, they usually, as you can see, you've got a small seeping leak on the rear end, but it's not that significant. It's just over the last 60, 70 years, that just accumulates from the gasket seal. I don't think it's, because it's not leaking or empty, don't need to put a seal on it. And I don't see any leaking on the rear axle seals, or you would have a lot of oil accumulating on the backing plate or on the wheels, and they're dry. So you're looking in good shape there. All right, let's move on. Let me tighten that up, and then I'll get it moved down, show you about getting oil in it and what we do on the top side. Be right back with you in a minute. Okay, a couple things here. You're gonna wanna use 1030 weight oil. That's just conventional, no synthetic, and it takes 5 quarts to fill it up. But yeah, no synthetic oil, just use your 10W30 is what you wanna use on these motors. Oil filter wrench, you want to get something like this that fits over your oil filter to make it easy to take it off. Ones that swivel make it easy to get in there and get your business done. So yeah, on the oil, there's a lot of synthetics out there for new cars, and you don't use that on old classic vehicles. This motor, again, has not been rebuilt, so you're going to want to treat it well. Make sure you keep oil in it. Keep an eye on the oil pressure gauge. Make sure that it always has decent oil pressure. If you start to see it falling off, then you're gonna wanna make sure to check your oil for sure if you're not already doing so. All right, let me get back to you in a minute. Okay, one other thing I did while I was underneath the truck, you saw that when I did the brake job, I did the upper control arm grease fittings for the bushings, the ball joints, cleaned it all off the grease, and then now I'm doing the underside control arm bushings, which are on the front and the back side. And I clean them off first with a wire brush. There's a lot of grease accumulated over the years, and you want to put grease in there. I would say do it every oil change if you can. It keeps it from squeaking and keeps your bushings in good condition so you don't have to replace them. Again, all original suspension, so make sure you hit all the different grease zerks. There's one up here on the ball joint. Kind of hard to see. There it is up on the top side, and then there's a pair. There's one on the bottom there on both sides. You want to make sure you get up in there and get those lubricated as well. All right, so that's again the lubrication of the suspension. I also did the drive shaft. There's a zerk for putting grease in right there, and another one back up in here. You can see it up in there. So just make sure you keep your U-joints are important to keep them lubricated so the needles don't dry out and fail on you. I'm going to go ahead and let the truck down and move on to filling up the oil and servicing that. Okay, I got the truck back down off the lift, and now we're going to add oil to it. The oil goes in the back here, this back corner. Normally, I like to have that up towards the front. It's easier to get to. Not really sure at what point that was swapped over, but again, it doesn't matter. It just get yourself a funnel, stick it up in there, and you can reach it just fine. This is your PCV valve. You're going to want to replace this with every oil change. I'll be putting a new one of those in there. It creates the, it relieves the pressure on your crankcase so that the seals don't blow out. When this gets stuck, all your oil starts coming out of every hole that you have in on the gasket seal. So it's important to keep that changed with every oil change. I'm going to, like I said, swap that out here in a minute. And of course, your oil dipstick, you're going to want to make sure you keep that at the full mark. And then you'll have an add mark at the very bottom. So keep it between the two lines, preferably as close to full as possible. And now I'm just going to add the oil to it, and we'll go from there. Let me see if I can get this in a position where you can follow along. Funnel right here, boom, it goes right in. And it's easy to get your oil in. So pick up a transmission funnel like that, a nice narrow black one, you'll have what you need. And then just add your oil in there. You'll probably buy it by the quart or the gallon. And just add 5 quarts in it and then check the level, see where you're at. Usually it's 5 that is all you need on a 350. On the transmission fluid, you want the truck warmed up. I went on a road test this morning, so the engine's still warm. You want to run it in park, and you check the fluid while the engine is running. So I'll show you how to do that here in just a second once we get this oil added back into the engine. And when you're done, always double check underneath. Put a piece of cardboard under there. If you have any leaks, filter's not tight, your drain plug's not snug, you'll get some drips down there, and you can quickly take care of that before going back down the road. I'll be putting a sticker on the truck too, so you'll know the mileage and date, frequency. If you're going to be using it as a regular driver, just depends on your mileage, but normally I recommend on a conventional oil engine like this, I would do it every 6 months, regardless of mileage. Just change your oil every 6 months so that you can get the contamination out of the oil from the motor, which is usually fuel related. As I mentioned in the drain pan, there was a little bit of moisture, but that is more common from just setting. I'm sure this truck has been setting in galleries and parking lots waiting to be sold, and moisture will develop in the motor. It doesn't look like a water jet leak like a head gasket or some kind of a passage leak on the cooling system, because it would be completely milky. And that's not the case. It was only at the very top of the oil. Water tends to go to the top and oil settles to the bottom. So it was probably just a little bit of moisture. You'll know when you change the oil next time. Look for that same white in the oil, or cream. Sometimes it's brown or gray, but it's definitely not the color of engine oil. So give that a look-see. And now I'm going to go ahead and pull the funnel out. Best on recording these videos. All right, I got it going here again for you. I'm going to put the cap back on it, which I have, and now I'm going to go ahead and check the oil level. Just want to put your dipstick back up in there, pull it out, and she reads full, so you're good to go. So 5 quarts on a new oil filter and oil change. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the PCV valve so I remember to check. Well, actually, I'm going to start it up so we can check the transmission fluid. Okay, so over here is the transmission dipstick. It's towards the back of the motor by the distributor. Right back in here. You can see me pulling it out. Just pull it out and wipe it off. You're going to want to keep it at the, it says transmission fluid, do not overfill. And there's your full and add marks. Go ahead and stick it back in there. Take a look at what our readings are. I didn't feel any slipping in the transmission while I was road testing it. But it probably needs some because they all leak a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit. It looks to be right at the halfway mark, so that's a good thing. But I'll go ahead and smell it. It doesn't smell burned. And I'm going to go ahead and add some more fluid in there to get it all the way to the full, and then go from there. All right. One more thing, when you're adding transmission fluid, you're going to need a narrow funnel, something that has a very small end, about the size of your finger, to get inside of that hole where the transmission fluid goes. It's way back here in the back where I pulled the dipstick out. You just stick that end of that funnel in there, push it down in there, and it'll stay in place while you add your transmission. Okay, on the transmission type, you're going to want to use a Dextron 6, 5, 4, doesn't really matter, but you need to use a Dextron transmission fluid for a GM transmission, 350 or 400 turbo glides. This is the fluid that it takes. Again, it wasn't very low, so I'm just going to add just a little bit in there, top it off. Again, you don't want to overfill it, and make sure, again, you're checking it while the motor is running. And if you start to feel a slip in the transmission when putting it into gear, that's usually an indication that your fluid level is low. So you're going to want to go and check your transmission fluid level, make sure that it's full. All right. Okay, so that's your kind of your normal servicing. You're gonna change when I get your new air cleaner on there, you change the filter out about every year. Well, if you're in dirty roads out in the country, just check the filter itself. You'll know when it's dirty because you compare it to one of your new ones. It'll be a night and day difference. Check your brakes about every month or two. Just pop the lid off, and as you've seen in other videos, you want your fluid about a 1/4 inch from the top. Doesn't have to go all the way to the top, otherwise it leaks everywhere. So just a little bit under. And make sure the seal is in good shape when you put it back on there. Belts, you always want to check on, make sure they're in good shape. The way you do that is you just turn the belt and you look for cracks in the belt itself. You see those cracks right there? That's an indication that the belt is worn and needs to be replaced. So I'll go ahead and get the belt switched out so that you don't have a failure there, and put that on an estimate if I haven't already. Make sure that that gets taken care of so it's not leaving you on the side of the road. It's got a new battery. It's in good shape. It's got the hold down on it, which most people leave off. That keeps the battery from sliding around. I'm adding a relay for your electric fan with the fuse. So if the fan ever not works, there's a fuse right here, 30 amp. And that's just to prevent an electrical fire or any problems. And then the fan itself is mounted up here in the front. I'm still hooking up the wiring to it. I changed the blade over to a pusher so that it's pushing air through the condenser, which is why it's here. It's primarily to cool the condenser when the air conditioning is running, but it'll add extra cooling to the radiator in addition to your regular fan that you have here on the front. Let's see, what else do I do when I check it? Obviously check your radiator for fluid. Do it when it's cool, not hot, because it'll definitely burn you. And there's a hose that's connected to this radiator, and it goes over here and connects to the overflow bottle. And what you want to do is normally keep this about halfway up. So when I do your flush on your antifreeze, I'll be adding some antifreeze in here as well. And just kind of, keep an eyeball on it when you're doing your normal checking maintenance service. Just top this off. Right now it's down here towards the bottom, so you're going to want to add some more in there. And that's primarily what I focus on when I service under the hood items on a classic car is just checking over all that, looking for fuel leaks. There are you'll have a new carburetor on there, so you won't have the leaks that you have right now. The ignition parts, on a rare occasion, and this would be something where the truck is setting for a couple of months, 2, 3 months, 6 months, the truck won't start, and a lot of times it's due to it not getting fire to the spark plugs, and that comes from your electronics back here. Your distributor has a contact point system inside of the distributor cap, and condensation and corrosion prevent the contacts from touching each other and making the spark. So what I have found that works for me is pull the distributor cap off, get a little file like a nail file, and just sand in between the two contact points, restoring metal on metal, and you should fire right back up again. That's a real rare thing. If my big recommendation is to drive the truck every 2 weeks. If you're not using it as a daily driver, start it up, move it down the street, park it, it'll be fine. But if you don't do that, you're asking for problems. Just like any motor-driven device, lawnmowers, weed whackers, leaf blowers, chainsaws. You want to make sure you keep them in good maintenance, serviced, and that you use them frequently so that they don't fail on you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Like I said, this will be a good reference on things to check under the hood when you want to keep the truck in good running condition. Obviously, take the pressure on your tires every time you change. I would say do it once a month. It'll keep it good fuel mileage. It'll keep your tires lasting long. I run about 32 pounds to 35 pounds on most vehicles, and that seems to be good for these heavy classic cars that we're driving around. All right, I will talk to you soon. Thanks, bye.